I look way more brown. Okay, what did we think?
I read it all today and I liked it. I was reminded of some other books that we've read, like the People We Meet on Vacation one, because the main character is kind of like a travel blogger.
Hmm.
Backstory of being in a bookstore, just because I find that interesting. And it also kind of is giving me vibes of the one by Carly Fortune, was it? The one about the lake? Um,
It happened when I was
it was kind of those vibes, but definitely the first section where it was like, oh, my husband called me when I was talking to my fiance or something. I was like, okay, what the hell, you know? And then after you're like, oh, he was supposed to have died, like I was shook in like the first 3 pages or something. So I feel like that's something only Taylor Jenkins Reid can do.
What I kept asking myself was like, how fast did she have to move on for like, or like, I don't know, either she moved on way too quickly, or like, where did this guy disappear to that he couldn't reach out to her for so long?
Yeah, that's
No,
sketchy.
stop lining with me.
Mhm.
You gotten hella serious with a man that he proposed to you. That sounds to me like a significant amount of time had passed.
I think it was like a year or two. And then is it Sam who she gets engaged to? The one her childhood friend?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe that's why they got engaged so quickly, because they already had. Okay, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like she had a crush on him.
But she
Okay.
friends with him accidentally.
Hello, Darlene, you're here so late.
Because I was cleaning.
Well, we just started. Oh,
I wonder if the book's going to lean towards the theme of like how people can love more than one person in their lifetime, and maybe like one of them is like your soulmate love at first sight, and the other one's kind of like the slow burn that you eventually fall in love with. Because that's what I kind of see with Jesse. Like she first saw him, she's like, "Oh my god!" And then Sam at first, she didn't really pay attention to him, but it said later on, like, "Oh yeah, I thought he was cute, not just because Marie thought he was cute too or something, you know." So I think it's gonna display that theme throughout.
It also kind of reminds me, I don't know if you guys have watched it, This Summer I Turned Pretty, where she's like, I know they're not brothers, but it just kind of gives me that vibe.
that is exactly what I was thinking the whole time. I'm like, this is a love triangle, just like The Summer I Turned Pretty. They're not related, but technically it's kind of the same thing, where she has always loved or has been like infatuated and, lust, all these things for Jesse. And if you've seen Summer I Turned Pretty, it'd be Conrad. And Sam has just been on the side the same way as Jeremiah has been. And it's like she likes them both, but it's more of a best friend becoming into a lover than the other one was.
Lover.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Love at first sight. Oh, he's beautiful. I'm physically attracted without like getting to know him before, So it's, yeah. I also like that it's not just the love triangle, it's also like the sisters, where the parents are like, no, you're gonna love her, like you're gonna appreciate that she's there for you. So it's more of not just like the love triangle, but also like the bond in the family and the sisters. And I'm excited to see that, because obviously she's like, I hate her, blah blah blah, she's so perfect and I'm not. Ugh, you know? And I feel like that's what it is when you're younger. Not necessarily hate, but it's just like when you're older, it's that bond that was not always like that. Or it could go the opposite, I don't know. But I like it.
It's a really fast read. I was hooked right.
I read it all today. And right before I started the meeting, I was like, I have one more page. And I was like, oh, that was quick.
Is that why you were laughing when I said I also read it today?
Yeah. Because I mean, I was like, I have the book. I don't want to listen to it. I don't want to try and get a Kindle version on my book on my phone. Because that's what I do when I'm like, oh, I don't want to carry my book. But I'm like, I have the book. I needed to read the book. I have it, you know, but it was actually really, really quick.
It was funny that what you said, Karina, because the reader of the audiobook is the same as the people you meet on vacation reader.
No way.
Yeah. Paula said she's done like several books. But it's funny, yeah, because there's like the similarities
I don't
and
remember.
then
Did we
well
like?
probably for you guys, like the audibles, there's chapter numbers, but like they don't read the chapters. Do you guys have chapter numbers?
Yeah. Or in the Kindle?
Okay.
I guess actually no. On the table of contents, it shows you numbers. But I guess it never actually has the numbers on the page.
Mm-mm.
Because when I was looking to see like how much we
Yeah.
had to read, I was like, wait, why don't they just say a chapter? Because on my table of contents, it's listed by chapter. So basically it was like chapter 10 or whatever. And then
Yeah.
yeah, but it's not listed at the top of like you don't know what chapter you're on.
It goes by section, really.
Yeah.
But they're not.
Yeah. So
They're not
Paula
very
was like,
good.
what chapter do we stop at? And then I like read, I'm like, okay, read 11, not 12. But they don't say like chapter 11 or chapter 12, but you have to like pay attention to the audible to see what chapter you're on.
I also liked, although I don't think it was the main focus, I liked the hint of like the small town angst and things like that because I feel like that's always interesting to see different authors' perspectives on since I come from a small town too. I kind of liked how the main character was like, okay, I gotta get out and travel all over, but then now she kind of wants to go back home. Like I think sometimes this doesn't happen for me, but I think I can see how it would be healing for some people to come back to where they grew up and everything. Sometimes it can be nostalgic.
I can relate to that because I mean I've been far away for a while and I feel like looking to the future we've been like thinking that it'd be better to be closer to family. So I can see that perspective, which is kind of nice.
It is also cool because in people we meet on vacation, it was the same thing where she's like, I don't want to go home. I don't want to go home. I want to stay away. And then eventually at the end, she's like, well, wherever he's at, I want to be, kind of thing. Julie, did you say that you listened to chapter 10 and not 11? Or was it 11, not 12?
11, not 12
Okay.
in the audible.
Because I feel like I can count it out and it does work out, but we'll see. 1.
Do you guys think that he, like, their helicopter crash or plane, I don't remember, and then like they're just stranded on an island, like, and lost? Or do you think like he was like a traumatic experience for him and then he like just wanted to stay in these islands and like this different life and just like, oh, I'm just gonna leave my old life behind and be out here for a little bit and I'll go back one day?
I think it better be the first option because if it's a
Mm-hmm.
I would think so too.
must
Like,
to happen passed away where it was like you stranded, but like for like at least a year because I think in how long was he casted away? Can't
A
remember.
long time.
Yeah, because his wife like remarried.
It was like 8 years, if not more.
I think she was about to get married. Because it's fiance, it's not a
She
new
did,
husband.
what is it? Rose gold solitaire
So
engagement.
she's yeah, she's 31, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then she got married when she was 25 and they only got married for a year. So it's been 5 years.
Long time.
So I think I think Karina, I forgot who mentioned it, but when they're saying like what happened when all that time, I don't know if he wasn't stranded with like no connection. My thought is like maybe he never really knew her number, like by memory. It's like how do I get back? Oh, we don't know what year it is, huh? Do we? I mean, it's not that ancient where they don't have like technology, like internet, social media kind of thing. But
Oh, yeah, we don't know the era. That's a good point. And when you said that, it made me think of when she received the phone call, she started talking about all those area codes. So imagine if they had like a different number every time they went somewhere. And
that's
maybe
true.
apart from being stranded somewhere or just choosing not to go back, perhaps I was kind of thinking like 51st Dates, where if he had a traumatic brain injury, he could have lost part of his memory. Like, what if he forgot about her and then like something triggered the memory and he was like, oh, snap. And then maybe someone helps him track down like how to contact her. Because if it's in a prior era, like before social media and smartphones, it might have been more difficult to figure out the number if he's all the way in Alaska, where there's not always the best service and things like that, too, I think. Assuming he was back in Alaska, not some like random little island.
Even if he was stranded somewhere that was like obvious, like Alaska, you would just travel back home.
Yeah.
But
You
maybe
know,
they didn't stay
How-
like land
yeah,
in
money.
Alaska.
If you remember where you live.
Well, that's where they were, but they were flying somewhere else, weren't they? So I don't know. Based on his swimming, I feel like maybe he had to swim.
Yeah.
And that's why he had no phone.
I also feel
Like-
like it's an accident. How bad was he hurt?
Mhm.
Could have been a
Oh, and a oh,
Oh,
that is true.
So we
But-
don't.
they would have done like, I don't know. Oh, I guess they wouldn't have had DNA if he wasn't in the system already, right?
Yeah.
Like there's no way of like finding out like who the family is.
Hmm.
But he would have thought like, oh, he would have been lost or hurt with some sort of identification, possibly.
His backpack was found,
Hmm.
but not him. And the
Did it have
pilot was dead. I think he was with 4 people. 4 people total, he said.
mhm.
So
About,
one
yeah.
of them died, the pilot. He's there. What happened to the other people?
I wonder if he would have been like on a little raft or something too, like that guy from Australia that was in the news recently. But also on the other end of things, because right before it happened, she was kind of saying like how she wanted to settle down and she wasn't sure if she wanted to settle down in her hometown. Or I remember there was a part saying like, what would it be like to raise kids in LA? I wonder if even though the book didn't say it, like maybe she was hinting at it more and his character was like, I'm not ready for that. Maybe he did bounce and, needed a break or something. So I wonder if that will come up too. Like maybe he'll be like, oh yeah, like this happened and wasn't sure I wanted kids or wanting to move back home. So he extended like his recuperation or something. Who knows? That'd be like the opposite.
I just read the back and it said when Emma and Sam get engaged, it feels like she has a second chance at happiness. And then Jesse is found alive and he's been trying to get back to her all these years.
Mhm.
I didn't read the back, so I don't know till now.
Mm.
But
There's our answer.
maybe he was just swimming, like Darlene said.
The whole time? But that's 5 years of swimming. There's no way. There's no way.
Just keeps
It's a long time.
become de
I was wondering, do you think he found out she was engaged? Like, do you
And then-
think he already knows when he's contacting her that she's engaged? And then, like, how would he feel about that? So weird.
Yeah, would you like if my significant other, like if I went missing for an unknown amount of time, how would you guys feel if you came back and they're like engaged to someone else?
pissed. Mahantam.
And like what's an acceptable amount of time?
Yeah.
Oh, eternity. Did I miss something? Or are they both her high school like crushes?
Yes.
Mhm.
My God, I was like, oh, she even like they even said the names, and I was just like, I kept reading along.
Yeah, they're both the high school boys.
But
The Sam, the one that worked at the bookstore, and then him, the swimmer. Sorry, what were you saying?
no, that's what I was like. Sam was her bestie, and Jesse was like her crush.
Yeah. Yep.
And Sam asked her out right away when he started working at her parents' store, and she kind of like was like, but then after she regretted it, and she kept looking for opportunities to get Sam to ask her out until one party where like the police came and she was hiding in the bush with Jesse and they got arrested together. So I feel like it was a more intense story that created like a bonding moment. And Jesse was like, okay, I'm open to it if you like me, basically, a very roundabout way. So I think for both of them, like if the circumstances were slightly different, it would have been like, oh, like what if, or we almost started dating, you know? Like it could have gone either way. I don't know.
So who do you guys think that she's gonna end up with?
Desi.
Yeah.
Jesse? This is kind of like Jane the Virgin. Is it
Is it the beautiful man or is it the best friend? Who could also be beautiful, but you know, they don't really say.
Well, they did say that he was coming out of the pool and that he had a six pack.
Oh yeah,
He
yeah.
looked great.
And the part where when Jessie flew away to Alaska and she just kind of had like this bad feeling, it said she threw up. So I low-key thought she was pregnant.
Oh,
and
yeah.
she was like, oh my God, you know, but then after I think it was just like a result of nerves. So definitely like Jane the Virgin.
Oh yeah.
I think I need more information to decide because I so far don't know much about like their actual like I don't know. I think I just need more information because as of right now I'm actually team Sam.
Wow, okay. I was gonna say as of right now, I think I'm team I was gonna say Jeremy. I'm not team Jeremy, I'm team Conrad. But in this story, I'm team Jesse. So basically team Conrad.
I'm still undecided, but I'll let you guys know when I decide in the chat.
I just feel like I don't know, like maybe Sam and her, yes, they became friends and you know, real close besties. But I feel like maybe she kept trying to, you know how she got asked out and she was so distracted by Jesse that she didn't really say anything and he's like, oh, friend zone. And then she kept trying, but do you think she kept trying because she was actually interested or more of like, oh man, that was the one guy I could have gone out with? And just trying to like recover just to be like, oh, I could. Because I think when she got asked out, she hadn't been with anybody yet.
Mm-mm.
Right? So I feel like I'm trying to put myself in her position, be like, oh man, this one guy really wanted to be with me and I should have gone out with him. And let me keep trying to see if maybe that possibility is set up.
Right. But she tried for a year, like until she gave up, like trying to like encourage him to re-ask her because she was interested.
Yeah.
I think because friends, it's like, oh, well, she even said this is when I friend zoned Sam after she rejected him and he kind of changed the subject. I feel like you naturally, when you become friends first, like you're learning about each other in a different way, like in a friendly way. So it's like you're not necessarily like have the passion there yet,
Mhm.
you know? So it's like you're able to like fall in love with someone in a different way. Whereas like Jessie was straightforward, just passion. She was just attracted to him. Like it was just like, I'm sorry to say it, but it's like, you know, attraction, like physical attraction isn't everything. Like you have to be able to connect with someone emotionally, not just physically. So that's why I say I'm team Sam.
I was gonna say something else that I forgot.
If fireworks aren't there, then how can they? I'm just kidding.
What?
I'm referencing. It's the right term for it because if the fireworks aren't there.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So going off of that, it's more of like I think I feel like I'm pretty delusional. So I feel like putting myself in her position, I'd be like forcing it with Sam. Yes, they're friends and stuff, but it's more of like maybe in her head, it's like, well, best friends are supposed to be the ones that get married. So I'm like, well, he has to be the one. He has to because he's my friend. And look, we get along so well. But is it really how she feels? Or is it more of just like the idea of like, well, it has to be. Sorry, that was Cora. It has to be him.
I was thinking just now as you all were discussing of a few different things. I'm not sure what I believe the most, but I wonder if when she first met Jesse, he was kind of expressing like, oh yeah, I kind of am open to you, or I like you, or I wish you had a crush on me or something. And she kind of was like, oh, now it's my chance, because before, like, there was kind of this competition vibe with the other girl. And Sam was just kind of like always there. Even though he didn't ask her back out again, she still kind of had like that friend relationship with him. But then I was thinking about when they went to college and how her and Jesse kind of both had that in common, where they didn't want to stay in the hometown. And so they were both kind of, wanting to travel, and they went to California and everything. But to my understanding, it seems like Sam stayed in the hometown. So I wonder also, like, if she had picked Sam first, if that would have represented a life more similar to her sister, who she still was kind of like, oh, I don't like my sister, I hate my sister. And maybe part of her was like, I'm not like, I'm definitely gonna go with Jesse over Sam, even if he had asked her out, just because she didn't want to be like doing something similar to her sister. Versus now that she's older, priorities change. She's traveled already, so she has had that experience. So maybe now that Jesse was gone and she went back home, if it's a small town, you're seeing like people you used to know a lot, and she ran into Sam, and Sam still wasn't like with anyone, the friendship would rekindle, and it would be like super easy to start hanging out with him again, and then maybe the romance would continue from there. So I'm kind of like wondering if she'll end up with Jesse just when he comes back, or whatever happens, just because he's not the bet that's as safe, and he was the one that she was with first. But that doesn't mean I'm team Jesse yet, because I haven't decided, but just something that came to mind.
The more we're talking about it, I mean, I'm still team Jesse, but I think I can see. Oh, sorry, Jesse, Sam.
Yes, you are.
Like probably the safest. Like, because now thinking back to how she was reflecting on like noticing her ring, and like now that she's engaged, she was kind of just like not as excited. Like, didn't seem as like, where it's just kind of like, oh, like, well, he asked me, and I didn't want to say no. Hmm.
So
I was like, I need more. This is
Yeah.
for a second.
I was gonna say, because you know how we said, oh, how long until like, how long after Jesse died did she get with Sam? I mean, I went back and it doesn't say exactly when, but they did just barely get engaged, like a week in the present, like a
Mhm.
week. So it like barely happened. So I'm wondering if maybe they weren't together right away. Maybe it was just being a friend, helping her there. And then when she finally was able to date, and then I don't know, I don't think they got engaged quickly.
See, Jane again, because
What?
didn't Michael died, Raphael was there for her for support, and then he just like slid up in there.
I don't know. I said I was Team Jesse, but at the same time, I'm like, there's also all those years of the friend of Sam that I'm like, yeah, well, I feel
He
like
low
it may have been like forced in the beginning, but maybe it could have, I don't know.
blossomed.
Yeah. Let me say 75 Jesse, 25 Sam.
It's still really early. I feel like anybody
Yeah.
can.
Yeah. I mean, early in the book, yeah, for sure.
I don't know. I think it's really cute though so far. Really enjoying it.
I wonder if she's gonna like blow up on her sister again when Jesse comes back, because the sister was the one like, he's gone, he's gone. But like obviously she needed to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it, like you ladies said, it's an easy read. I like it. Paula says it's kind of boring and the characters are basic. And she feels like, kind of like Karina said, like she's read this type of book before.
Yeah. It's like your typical cliche. Love
Mhm.
triangle, then we have issues because who do you pick? Yeah.
It's already a movie.
It is?
I know. It
Mhm.
is.
Uh,
It is on Hulu.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It's out, so
yeah, I'm excited to watch that after.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, and she thought the characters aren't very interesting. Yeah, we were talking about this the other day, so I don't know if it was because of the movie, but we're like, how many years would you wait?
Yeah, like I just feel like, I mean, yes, we do need more information, and this is just the beginning, but it does, we do, I feel like the core thing is what truly happened to Jesse to take that long, because that's a long time.
Yeah, I think more information is key for that because
Yeah.
depending on what happened, it's definitely going to shape our opinion of Jesse. I was also gonna say I like how the author is kind of sneaking in like body image themes too, like how the main character is like, oh, I don't look like my sister, I don't look like my mom, like, and she has like that issue of like feeling like she wants to belong. Like the part where she was looking at the photos and trying to count the similarities between her and her parents, I was like, that's sad. That's really sad.
And
it does make me think about I only have brothers, unfortunately. I've always like wanted a sister.
Mm.
I always swear I thought, but I do kind of like being the only girl. But it's interesting to see their sisterly dynamic because it kind of reminds me of um my roommate in college, Hannah. I know Karina knows her. Her and her sister were like hostile towards each other from like their preteen years until college. And then college, they suddenly became best friends. But like those years they were like living together, they were like fighting all the time. And it wasn't until later in life that they became friends. So it's just interesting to see the dynamic. And then also with her parents and her parents being very like, we want you here with us doing what we do. Like kind of closed-minded in some ways, but still loving. It was interesting to see that too.
I think it's also interesting to see that because they were young, and even though the situation wasn't as bad, like I think both of Jesse's and forgot her name. What's her name? Emma.
Mhm.
Both of their parents kind of don't like each
Each
other's partners.
Mm-hmm.
Not until they're about to get married. All because of that like situation where they were both caught drinking, like they were detained by the police. And I'm like, that's so sad because honestly it wasn't innocent, but like they weren't bad kids all the time. It was just that one event that kind of um pretty much ruined the image for their parents and their partner. When in reality, like he wasn't bad. He was like the swimmer, the top swimmer y todo eso. And she was like, I wish that she was just an average student because she was at the top. She wasn't, like it wasn't like she was a rebel the whole time. It was just that one little event and it just kind of ruined the image. And I was like, that's just so sad that when you're young, like these little things that aren't necessarily how they are, parents take it and they just take this opinion and it stays with them. I don't know. I feel like that hit to me very personal because I've had certain situations where I'm like, it wasn't even that. And then my parents or other people are like thinking it's a different thing.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of cool. Because it's real. Nothing happens.
It is, and I think it's sad that sometimes parents and like of teenagers, I guess. I don't feel like this like really happened to me because I wasn't even allowed to go out that much, but I've seen like other people that they kind of did something like slightly rebellious and it's not like that bad. And their parents hear about it from other people and it becomes like this huge thing that's blown out of proportion, and then the teenagers are restricted a lot, or they get their phone taken away, or it's just like, oh, how could you do this? And I think part of me was gonna say like I feel like in small towns it's worse because everyone knows each other. But I imagine no matter where you are, that type of thing, if it's someone your parent knows and they make a comment like that, the parents might take it in a bad way. I know like when I was in college, like the last year, I think one of my cousins made a comment to my mom in front of like my aunts, like, oh, Karina's partying a lot, which maybe I was, but I told my mom, like, oh, did they ask to look at my report card? Because it has straight A's. Like, you know, it's like, what do they focus on? Like, people always focus on the negative.
Yeah.
Or they don't get curious. Instead, they just start like thinking, like, oh, no, you're a bad daughter, you're a bad son because you're doing all this stuff. But it's like people don't really ask or have conversations about it for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I also don't know how I would do if like I don't know, in-laws didn't like me or like they weren't like the biggest fans.
Mhm. Like even them just moving to LA because they wanted to get out of the town. It was seen so negatively, like saying, "Oh, she convinced you." I mean, yeah, she did actually, but like he wanted to. He didn't want to swim. He wanted to do these other things. It's just so it's sad. But they just start blaming the other person when it's like, do you really know your kid though?
I mean, really, in that case, it's the one to blame is the parents because they're like pressuring them so much to do something that they want for them and not realizing that obviously that's not what they want. So really, they're not doing anything wrong, they're just doing what they want.
Yeah.
This is a random question, but going off of when she was punished and she said she had to work 3 times longer at the bookstore than she normally would have that summer. And she says she didn't care because it's like the summer she fell in love with Jesse. But I'm wondering like if Sam was also there the whole time she was working for most of those shifts, because that would have been like even more time that they hung out together in those years, thus strengthening their friendship. And I wonder like if that like amount of time, I'm imagining it would have impact on like her feelings towards Sam in the future after she thought Jesse was dead. Like I wonder if it would have been the same had she not been dealt that extra punishment. But who knows if Sam was there all the time or not.
Mhm. I think
I think he was already, yeah, like did his last shift already. Was
he
left
left.
for college a couple weeks after.
Yeah.
Thank you.
He left without saying goodbye. Yeah, I think that's what happened, right? She didn't know what happened after the whole incident with the cops. And he, I think, had already put in his like notice that he was gonna leave, or he moved earlier.
He was a little older, right? Or no?
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
Okay, thank you. That makes sense. For some reason, I was imagining them being the same age.
I feel like the fact that even though they weren't like on horrible terms, that he didn't say goodbye,
Uh-huh.
kind of a red flag. Um, so I don't think it's gonna be Sam. And also she's kind of living the life that she didn't really want at when she was younger, which I know you can change your mind.
Yeah.
But I feel like she just went through a traumatic experience. She went back home because that's what she knew, and she just like fell into this life. That was kind of like the life her parents and the people around her thought she should have, and not necessarily the life that she wanted, but it was just easy and maybe less difficult to do, especially after losing Jesse.
I agree. I feel like Sam maybe it's the easier choice. And I'm seeing now that they're about 2.5 years apart because he was graduating in her sophomore year.
Mhm.
But because of that, maybe now I'm Team Jesse, I think, because I don't know if people like should go for like the easier choice or not, but I think I'm still decided. But it's a small what tally for Jesse's side. But yes, he was a senior graduating when she was a sophomore.
That's also
That
what
makes sense. 19 at the party that she was drinking at when she was 17.
he was 19.
If he was 2 years older. That makes her 19 when she was 17. So like when she's at the party drinking. I mean, 2 years isn't a long time. I guess it sounds like a long time when you're underage.
Yeah, I feel like her going back home was more of like, Jesse's not with me anymore. I'm lost. And she was already missing home or kind of wanted to consider going home. Like it was a thought, and I feel like it was heightened and it seemed better because she was just sad and lost without Jesse. And then the people who were supporting her, making her feel better, were her parents, and obviously the parents want her back home. So yeah. I don't know. But she did say she was the happy. Well, I guess I don't know. I was gonna say she was the happiest with Sam, but I think it's in like relating that to obviously Jesse dying, not necessarily when she was with Jesse,
Maybe it was a blessing in disguise.
or we don't know. Maybe it is in general a happier relationship.
Maybe that was the only way that she could leave her marriage.
But yeah,
And now
there's
she's like,
a moment where
fuck, now I have to go back.
the moment where she was telling Jesse, like, oh, do you ever think about going home? And he was like, who, what, who are you? That's not Emma. You would never say that. I also did not like that. That's one like red flag for me from Jesse. Just because I mean, as we grow, we will change. Even though we said things we weren't gonna do or would never want to do, and then we end up doing it. It's like you kind of have to grow with a person and not just be like, you're Emma from high school who always wants to travel.
That's kind of very, what is it? What's the word I'm looking for? Ugh. Spacing. Very
Close-minded. Just kidding.
well, yeah, close-minded, but more of like controlling of him.
Yeah. So
To say like, oh, you wouldn't. You're not who you say you are, kind of thing. Because
yeah,
just trying to tell her who she should be.
like that just to me it seems like it's gonna be a problem. It's like you never said you wanted this. You never. So like it reminds me of a movie. Let me see if I can find it. I was recently well, I've been watching rom-coms and listening to them. I kind of took a break and then I started again. And the most recent one was I think Bride Wars. I don't know if you guys have seen that one.
Love. That's
So
on repeat for me.
that kind of that little specific thing reminds me of Anne Hathaway. She was gonna marry, or she married. No, she was gonna marry Chris
Going to
Pratt.
her
Yeah.
longtime boyfriend.
Yeah, they were together for years, for many, many years. The Who hasn't seen the movie, or who has?
Darlene, you gotta watch it.
Well, I hadn't seen it either. That's why I watched it. So Kate Hudson and Anne Hathaway are best friends. They want to get married in the same spot. They end up basically getting engaged like within a few days from each other.
Yeah.
So then they're like, oh my gosh, we know we want to have a June wedding at the Plaza in New York. I think it's New York. Yes, it's New York.
Mm-hmm.
And they only have a few dates. The main person, the wedding planner, messed it up, and they end up with the same wedding date. So that's why there's a war, because they're over here trying to make it the best, and they're obviously not maid of honors from each other anymore. But Anne Hathaway, that's a little situation where the bride war brought out the worst in Chris Pratt's eyes, the worst in her, because she was being more outspoken, she was being more aggressive, more like she was willing to fight. And he was like, who are you? Why are you why are you being so like mean and revengeful? Like that's not you. Like you don't usually speak up that much, because she's also a teacher, and she kind of gets like, when people walk all over you, that kind of thing. And then she started speaking up, and he's like, I don't like this, because he's controlling that. He was like, this is not you. I don't like this new person you're becoming. And I'm like, it's giving me that same vibe with Jesse. So maybe
Already flip-flopping?
yeah, maybe I'm more 50-50. Because I mean, I'm not trying to say that if you have that little thing, it's not toxic, but it's a red flag. And I feel like if it's a red flag, it's a red flag. It's gonna be there. It's gonna come up again. It's gonna become an issue. I don't know. Maybe.
And also they like were like all consuming of each other. They like didn't like even at their wedding, they didn't want to like celebrate with the others.
Yeah.
They just wanted to be together was not a huge issue, but also they can't be like your whole world.
Yes. That too.
And I felt like they once they got together, they like distanced themselves from their family, which is not always a bad thing, especially if the family's toxic, but they weren't like abusive towards them. Maybe his parents with like the swimming and stuff were a little more toxic, but like I just felt like she drifted from her family quite a bit.
That's a good point.
And this is how you know that Taylor Jenkins Reid is a good author. That tiny little bit, and we're like, you know. And I just feel like going back to last month's book with the tiny stuff he gave us. It was a he, right? Yeah, it was. I just felt like we couldn't. It wasn't as complex with the different themes. It was more like, I'm not telling you. Just wait. You know, and that's like
All the way to the very end.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was interesting. I'm sad I didn't make it to the meetings for those, but I'm like, what's going on? Is this why the title is Look Closer?
What'd you think?
He was literally telling you, look closer. I'm like, he didn't give us much to go off of, too. Well, whatever. We've already discussed it. Moving on from that one, but
I'm just saying because Karina didn't. She wasn't here for them. But
I'm trying to find a comfortable spot.
Me neither. I wish you guys texted me because I was free. I just forgot.
Oh wait. Once I stop recording, or you can send it through the message if you don't mind sharing your number, or DM me through the Instagram so I can like remind you in case you don't show up. Because I didn't know.
I know.
What's that?
I want to reread this book, like
Mama,
the beginning.
what's that?
And I can't remember what she said about Sam. And
What's that, Mommy?
I want to reread that part.
That's the cutest.
That is adorable.
Voice.
I want to cry.
We'll
So I'm
always
gonna
have
read
that
her book
recording.
now.
Oh, that was cute.
I also feel like it's a pretty like it could have been a longer book. I mean, I know we're not even done with it, but I wonder if we'll get like a point of view from Jesse and his time stranded, because I think that would be interesting to read.
That would be really interesting.
It's called Castaway.
There is a book called Castaway. I think someone suggested it for before, I think for last month.
That sounds familiar.
It sounds familiar.
No, but seriously, I was actually.
Oh
just
yeah,
thinking the
I
same
think
thing.
that was
I really
mine.
hope we get to hear his perspective. Like,
Yeah.
not necessarily his perspective, but more of like what went on. Like, I want to know what happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like play-by-play survival. Like on a raft in an island in Alaska in the spring. Crazy.
That's true. It was Alaska. What if No, that's crazy. I was like, what? I'm over here thinking of like Captain American status where he was the one that was frozen, right?
Yeah.
He was frozen for like 3 years.
Like,
and then he
That
got
would be really weird if that was like somehow brought into this book. It's like he was frozen for 5 years.
Hey, Captain America did it. Why not? Just kidding. That
He ain't a superhero though.
maybe he is.
I guess maybe it's like Aquaman because he was a swimmer.
Oh, Aquaman. I would like
Or
some
he did become a
Momoa.
fish. Maybe he did become a fish because he's like, I'm not a fish. I'm not always in the water. Because she's like, why didn't you go in the water? It was a pool party.
Yeah,
Maybe he turned into a fish.
that was interesting.
Corina, I need to know what you're drinking.
Wine.
Is that boba?
We spent the day in San Jose today. My mom, Rico, and I, and my mom wanted like little new spin shoes. So we had to go to REI, and we went to this bomb steakhouse, and my mom bought me a bubble tea. So I didn't drink it all. So I put it in the fridge and I saved it for book club, but it's oolong milk tea with boba, and it's pretty good. But there's a lot of places in San Jose, but I like the name of that one, Beast Tea, because it was like beast. So I thought it was funny.
That's cute. I love boba.
Me too.
I was like, she's drinking something, and it looks interesting.
I
Because
used
you would just see like a little straw, but like a dome lid. I was like, that could literally be anything.
I'm at the last of it, but I used to not like boba, and now I do. So I was wanting boba.
Good to know. That's noted.
I need to go find my charger. I'll be back.
Oh. The next section is not very nicely evened or very nicely separated, like the big section of before and after and all that stuff, which kind of sucks because
We're in the middle of a section.
yeah, I'm trying to see.
Oh, and I won't be here next week. I'm gonna be out in the woods, so I won't have service.
Don't get stranded because
No, but I've been hearing about a lot of people going missing at Yosemite.
oh,
I don't know. I could be on
Like
the
they
bottom
go
of the
on
river
hikes?
somewhere.
Bears are out at Bass Lake.
Don't tell me that.
No, they
That's
are.
literally where that's literally where I'm going.
I know, that's why.
That's what she's telling you because she knows.
Okay, so I'm gonna sleep in my car.
They know how to open cars. Just kidding.
They do. Not if it's locked.
Yeah,
Actually, if I'm inside and it's like the keys, you really just have to put your hand inside the door for the car to unlock.
Yeah.
How should I do this? It's gonna be hard. Because I counted the chapters and they don't match. So I ended up with the one that we're supposed to read next should be chapter 11. So maybe I'll pretend that is chapter 12. Maybe I can count and see.
Yeah, maybe the Audible's one chapter off because sometimes they're.
I feel like they're always a
off like
chapter
that.
off, right? For the most part.
Yeah, because I think was there like an intro or something, and then they like count that as one. I think if you give us the words again, I'll just have to listen to it.
So it might be 22, 23. Chapter
Okay.
22, 23. So I'll give you the last thing, the last sentence you should read. Let me just type it in. It's page 158 for the people who actually have the book. And the last sentence, I'm gonna type it in, but I'm also gonna upload a picture of her. How have I spent all my time forgetting who I am and who I love? Wow.
Oh my gosh.
What
What was the page number again, please?
158 is the last one you should read. I am.
Okay, that's perfect for me. That's the end of 21. So
Yeah.
don't read chapter 22.
Oh yeah, it's chapter 21.
Yeah, so don't read 22. That's Kindle version.
Your Kindle has chapters. Oh,
Yep. On the
beautiful.
Oh, because it has to, because you click through it, right?
Yeah.
That's true.
But it doesn't have it on the actual like section, so I'll just look at the page number so I know to not read
Yeah.
one.
So page 158. So you said the next chapter would be chapter 22?
Yeah, 22.
Okay, so don't read or don't listen to chapter 22. I'll still post that so it doesn't get all weird. Cool. I'm excited.
Okay, thank you.
I feel like I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna want to continue.
Yeah, because it's in the middle of the section.
Yeah.
And then the section is called, what is it called? After both.
What? No, you're supposed to read after.
After both. So yeah, you're in the middle of after both.
Oh yeah. We're in the middle of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's gonna be interesting. Ooh.
The Bachelorette.
So maybe she doesn't end up with either.
I'm just kidding. I'm really
You're
well,
like, oh.
I guess. I mean, in previous books, I have rooted for them not to end up with people.
Maybe she herself.
Mm.
Judith's like, no.
I was about to say, isn't that what Jane was kind of doing at some point?
Yeah.
Right?
Before, when Raphael, I think, wanted to date her for the second time, like after Michael had died, she was like, for the longest time, she was like, no, no, no.
Yeah. So maybe this is Jane the Virgin, except no accidental insemination.
Or there could be, we don't know.
Yeah.
Oh,
Breakfast ones.
It doesn't happen.
Not
twice.
a but there could be an artificial insemination.
okay. That's right. Okay, well, that's our next section. I'm gonna post a picture right now so I don't forget, and then you can reference it back.
Questions before we log off. I think in June for the past 2 years we paid dues, and I forgot about it because I had on everything. But I was wondering, Judith, if you want to text us like our part of the membership, that way it's not all upon you.
Stylene did tell me about that, and I said I was gonna look into it, and I forgot.
I know. I told Corina I would tell you, and you failed me. Never told me.
Well, you told me last night. Did you tell her you're gonna tell me earlier?
I had asked Stylene, so I couldn't
You told me-
remember like the month, and I just feel like I've been in a whirlwind this summer.
Yeah.
Wait, I don't want to not pay my rights.
Yeah. I have to.
That's so crazy. It's been a year because I think Paola joined like right before then. So it's been in a year already.
Yeah, I totally forgot. We have it's 3 years now.
We still all have not met in person.
It's in June when we
I think
started
the
it.
only person and Paola, because I did meet Julie.
We need to meet Paola in person, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a brunch or something. We can chat.
Well, we had picked a date. We just haven't at least I haven't planned anything for it.
No, well, we can all
Yeah,
plan.
the Martin Luther
We said
or
somewhere
for Karina's.
yeah, right?
Oh, is that
January.
February. I think it was January, February.
Jan-
For Galentine. I
January
was looking.
or February?
No, we had picked a January date.
Oh,
Was it Martin Luther King weekend or something?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I think we said that. But was there a movie coming out in February? We
Yeah,
said
and
we could
then
see-
someone said that, so then we could probably change it to February. But
Is that the red, white, royal blue? Or?
Oh yeah. I said, would it be crazy if
no,
we?
it wasn't it. It ends with us.
Oh, is it that
I
one?
think it ends with us.
When is red, white, royal blue?
That one is in a few weeks.
Okay.
I saw a
Yeah.
recent they posted about it again, and I was like, oh, I think maybe 2 weeks. I'm gonna say it's mid-August or late August. But I'm excited for that one.
Oh, yeah. August 11th.
August 11th?
Yeah.
This
Do you
is
think
week.
it'll be rated
Friday.
R?
Wait, what day is that? Friday? Thursday?
Yeah, that's a Friday.
Oh my God.
I'll be
Oh, yeah, it
there.
is R. It is R.
How exciting! Oh, I have something to look forward to. Yay.
I just found out the movie theater does Tuesdays $6, and that's my day off. So I'm gonna go see it by myself.
I think it's gonna be on Prime.
Oh,
Oh,
really?
is it?
I think
Oh,
it movie, right? Not show.
Let me check. Hmm.
Oh my gosh. I should be more organized with my notes. I wrote notes about it, and then when I was looking through something else, I saw the date and I was like, oh yeah, January. But I guess we're gonna have to revisit that.
It says Prime Video.
Fine? Nice.
if you have Prime, do you get it free? If you have like Amazon Prime,
I would think
like the
so.
video thing's different.
I read 11 books when I was in Mexico. I know.
Yay.
What?
11?
Oh my god.
What the heck?
Physical? Like you took 11? No, you took your Kindle, huh?
I took one regular book, but I didn't read it actually, and then I just mostly put on my Kindle. Yeah, I preloaded a lot of books on it before I left because I have 3 library cards, so I just whatever looked good that was available, I downloaded.
That's crazy. I hope these were all like 20-page books.
There were 2 that I'm not gonna lie, they were much shorter because I guess they were novellas or novellas by Colleen Hoover. So those were really short, but there was, I think, the biography of Viola Davis. That one was long, but it was really good and really sad. And then I read Fairy Tale by Stephen King, and that one was pretty long too. The rest like were average length, I guess.
Crazy.
Another long one was The Educated one that was out a lot. Like it's still out, but I feel like that one was talked about a lot a few years ago. And that one was kind of intense as well.
Oh yeah, I read that one. That's good.
What did you think of that one, Julie?
I like that one. Yeah.
Oh, like Matthew Perry's.
Oh, did you finish it, Crystal?
Yeah.
What did you think of
That's
that
Huh?
What did you think of that one?
I thought it was a really good story, and it's very sad everything he goes through, but he definitely refers to himself as, I think, much bigger than he actually is. Like, I don't know. I think he's a little full of himself sometimes.
Oh.
I kind
Damn.
of that vibe too. I felt really bad for his alcoholism and addiction.
Hmm.
That's the part that really stuck with me the most. But and I know it's a biography, so like, yeah, I told us about them, but it seemed like he was a little like self-centered, but also like I do really like his sense of humor throughout the book, so that was really nice.
Yeah. No, overall, I still rated it a pretty high because I thought it was really good. I just there was some moments where I felt like he was a little self-centered, where I was like, could have done without that. But I mean, he is an actor, so.
Did anyone read that Selma Blair autobiography someone pitched? Because that one looked good.
I want to, but I haven't read it yet. But the Viola Davis one was really good too. It was crazy to read how like she grew up in the circumstances that she did in her childhood and how she like lifted herself out of that, to become a well-accomplished actress. And it was really interesting to read that one in contrast to Matthew Perry's.
I'm trying to see how I came up with the dues, but I think it was $26.
For the year?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Not bad. I don't know
I
why I
don't
was
remember how I did that. How did I do that? Anybody remember?
Mm-mm.
I'm 12. You pay
Huh?
month. Look at the monthly dues and then times that by 12.
Yeah, because I think I had said it was like $2 for like each month. but maybe I based it off of how much I was paying for the Zoom thing. But I don't remember what card I used for my Zoom. Oops.
Does it get charged yearly or monthly?
Monthly.
How much did we pay you last year? Wasn't it like 12 or 22? Check Venmo.
Oh gosh, which one did I use? Jesus. Not that one. Maybe. So I found Crystal's and she sent me 26. I think that was for the year.
I was like, okay, I paid last year.
Judith, where did we go? I'm looking at our history on Venmo, and there's one that says that horrible service at that horrible place. Where was that?
When was that?
September.
I was smoking that.
Was
Oh,
it-
here's 25, May 24th.
We went to a Giants game in San Francisco. It was like a Thai place, and it was like underground kind of.
Someone's smoking right up.
I don't remember what they did, but it was bad.
Oh, when we went to ramen. And that's
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, I remember now. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Good memory, Darlene.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that's what I did. It was. We're like 7, huh? Yeah, that's what I did. So I did the monthly Zoom thing divided by how many of us we were. And it's like $2 per month. So it was like I think I had told you guys it was like $228. So I just said you can send 24, but Crystal sent 26, Dailene sent 28. That's the part where I'm like, I don't think I told you guys. I just said just send like $2 a month, and then that should be it. So you can send 24, that's fine. There's like 28 cents of like, it's a weird thingy. It's funny, the horrible service. I'm still thinking about that.
Alrighty, thank you.
Like I said, I should keep better track of my notes. I know I write stuff down, they're just all over. I don't even know where I left my book club notebook.
I can make a calendar reminder to know I do it that way. If we remember to, it'll pop up because I think I was just remembering from my brain, but sometimes that's too much for me now.
Zoom. That's cute.
Oh, that was easy to do. Oh my gosh. I literally I could have just gone to my account. I was going through like the people. I was like, okay, Dailene, I remember, like I can find Dailene's thing. I could have just scrolled through my own. But see, everyone sent different stuff. Like someone sent 25. Paola and Julie sent 25. Dailene, you sent 28. I don't know why you sent 28. And then Katie sent me like
tax
I
gratitude.
you 25 and 71 cents. I don't know why.
I think I had said it was like 214 or something.
Oh,
And
I probably just divided it exactly. You know,
yeah, because I just divided yours by 12 and it's like 214. And I was like, oh. So I just said send $2 and whatever, it's fine. But that's
why
funny.
did you send 28? That's weird.
Maybe you owed me from something else.
$2? I thought.
Shipping for something else. I don't know.
Technical difficulties.
Let me just stop the recording.